into the world as a child, and you get along what your parents are drinking. So that's why in Tanzania the coffee drinking culture is cannot say non-existent, but it's in its infancy. So a lot of people drink coffee because they know coffee wakes you up.
For example, cold pressed can be fresh juice, but the difference between blended juice and pressed and cold pressed juice is the fact that with the cold press, after it's squeezed, you get a thin texture. And then that means all the nutrients are left behind. But with the blended juice, you get to blend everything. You get all the fibers, you get all the nutrients that are mixed in the juice. So all those are still fresh juice.
Check out on our latest recipes on the show this Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on your favorite channel, Capital TV.
Tonight, River Capitaltvtz Bridge swept away by floods. And in DRC, Seni announces Felix Tshisekedi as new president of DRC. In sports, Tanzania eliminated in semi-finals of East Africa Tennis Championship. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Khadija Zimbwe. First, the national news. The heavy rains which are continuing to fall in Songwe region have caused massive floods which have swept away the River Capitaltvtz Bridge and cut off linkage between the three villages of Kafule, Capitaltvtz and Isoko in Ileje district. If the government cannot find a rapid solution on this problem, then students and sick people will be unable to get the education and health services which are provided on the other side of Isoko village. Some of the negative effects which have cropped up since the bridge was swept away by water include the failure of more than 300 students to cross River Capitaltvtz in order to go to school, and the failure of sick people to get medical treatment, as well as essential services which are provided on the other side of Isoko village. The transport costs have also allegedly risen from 2,000 shillings initially up to 20,000 shillings currently for those who are in search of humanitarian services on the other side of Isoko village.
This bridge will be a great help for students going to school, but also for those going to the hospital. There are more than 150 students who cross here going to secondary school and at least 60 primary school students. The fare has gone up because we now have to use the long route. It goes as high as 20,000 if you have to hire a motorcycle. Working with district officials and engineers, we've looked at how this bridge can be repaired as soon as possible so local residents can access social services.
11 people are being held by the police force in Mbeya region for allegedly breaking into a warehouse and stealing electricity equipment that was meant for the RIA project worth 175 million shillings, leading to some villages in Mbeya not to get connected with electricity since November last year.
Standing before you are 11 suspects charged with stealing rare equipment worth 175 million, equipment intended to be used to supply electricity from Mbeya region. 6 suspects were involved in the actual burglary, while the remaining suspects were guards on duty on the day who colluded with the thieves. Their police force will not tolerate any criminal act. We believe that RARE project will supply electricity to our region necessary for industrialization.
Drivers of large vehicles, which include lorries that transport cargo to various regions and out of the country, have complained on the performance of weighing bridges experts at Vigwaza for spending a lot of time weighing their vehicles, causing significant traffic queues and long delays.
Many hours we travel. Some of the places we go to are far to reach. If we wait, say, for 4 hours at the checkpoint, it interferes with our schedule.
Thought
the weighing would make things easier, but things have turned differently. So much time is wasted, as long as 6 hours waiting for your turn. This affects us a lot, forcing some of us to drive at night to make up the time. Vehicles with no load were instructed to use the service road, but still the queues are very long. They must look into this so as not to waste time. Last week we were changing the software used to check weight, so in the process of doing it, we had to use only one side at a time, which caused the delay. But also when the new law came into effect, a lot of vehicles came out at once.
The Minister of Agriculture, Japhet Kasunga, has said that all those who have purchased cashew nuts from their farms at low prices will not get paid, nor will they get their cashew nuts despite their being in the warehouses. The minister said this when speaking to councillors who took part in a meeting of the region's advisory committee and urged cashew nut farmers to continue to farm more and not to lose hope because of the challenges that occur.
First of all, my fellow Tanzanians, I would like to say emphatically that every Tanzanian is supposed to engage in legal work. Having said that, I would like to state that we, as the government, do not recognize Mr. Kangomba as a legal businessman. Let me point out here that Mr. Kangomba has no license, he has not been registered anywhere, and he does not pay taxes. Let me further point out that this same Kangomba takes unfair advantage of Tanzanians in order to receive 1,000 shillings, and yet now he wants us as the government to pay him 3,300 shillings. Thus, I hope you can see that this Kangomba wants to reap the rewards of work which he clearly did not do. Let me say forcefully to you, Honorable MP, that this is unacceptable, totally unacceptable. Honorable Minister, let me just say that out of 60 million tons of cashew nuts, we have certified 38 million tons of them. I would also like to say, Minister, that 52 million tons of cashew nuts have been stored in warehouses, while 8 million tons of the crop have been stored in AMCOS warehouses. Now, Minister, I know that some districts say that they have stored a huge amount of cashew nuts in AMCOS warehouses.
The government of Dar es Salaam region, in collaboration with the National Health Insurance Fund (NHIF), has launched a community health insurance service for residents of Dar es Salaam who are not in formal systems, which will give citizens of the region an opportunity to get health insurance and thus be able to get treatment at affordable costs in hospitals and health centers.
The government saw it fit to come up with a system that will enable every citizen access to health care. Those of us on employment have an insurance fund as well as other insurance schemes provided by other providers that we use. But for people not in formal employment, have been facing some challenges when it came to accessing affordable health care. But since last year, we've been carrying out some sensitization programs. In this type of insurance, every family will do well to join. And once you take out this insurance, a family of 6 will pay 150,000. Then if you do the math, it used to cost between 50 to 100,000 to treat just one person. But now you'll only have to pay 120,000, meaning parents with 4 children. This will give you access to better health care. But for those with no family, you can pay 40,000 shillings and you'll be able to be treated for a whole year.
Kwa lugha nyepesi $20,000 kwa kila kichwa.
The President of Zanzibar and Chairman of the Revolutionary Council, Dr. Ali Mohammed Shein, has launched a new school building and emphasized that no teacher or school is permitted to take contribution funds for any type from students and parents. Dr. Shein made the statement after launching a one-story building that was built in Fumba as part of revolutionary celebrations under the sponsorship of a businessman, Saeed Salim Bakhresa, through his construction company, Union Property Developers.
Elimu ya msingi tutaendelea kuitoa bure moja kwa moja.
We will continue providing free education for primary school without any contribution from parents or guardians. No one is supposed to pay anything. If there is somebody who has done that, then it is a wrong act. If you've done so, please come forward and tell us who is collecting the money. Parents, no one should ask you for money for textbooks, stationery or broom.
Wazee na wazazi msichangishe pesa za mabuku, wala vitabu, wala fagio, wala penseli, wala raba, wala chaki.
The government has confirmed that the North Mara mine in Tarima district is leaking water containing toxins and has been heading towards the water sources which are usually used by the residents who stay in the areas surrounding the mine. The government has also instructed the mine's leadership to take emergency measures in order to address this dangerous leakage. Speaking after visiting all areas of the mine, the Permanent Secretary in the Vice President's Office for Union and Environmental Matters, Engineer Joseph Malongo, said that the results of the water samples from the mine, which were tested by the National Environmental Management Council (NEMC) and the government's chief chemist, prove that the water being leaked contains dangerous toxins. As the result, the government has given the mine's leadership a one-week deadline to submit a plan to the government which will detail how it will stop the leakage of that toxic water, and directed the leadership to begin drawing up plans to build a dam for the prevention of that leakage.
As a government, we did our research. We brought some people from NEMC as well as the government chemist. Samples were taken for testing. So whether water coming from the mine is poisonous has been scientifically proven. We shall work with the government and together we can find a lasting solution which will be decided by the committee formed by the government and the mine.
The National Bureau of Statistics has assured development stakeholders and embassy officials in the country that Tanzania will not take anyone to court if they follow the amendments of the National Law Statistics by providing accurate statistics given by the office.
To these statistics law reforms, I said that they should not be worried. No one is going to be imprisoned for following the set procedures. All we want is data. All nations in the world have challenges relating to accurate data, and they have all agreed on this. I repeat, no one is going to be apprehended. We want work to be done, then how can we arrest you?
And I think the most important thing is the leadership behind it, and to want to turn data into accessible information. Data that is not used has no value. So that's why we are so excited to work with Dr. Chua and start to track the data that exists in Tanzania. Of course, there's a lot of data that is missing, but now we can at least know what data is missing and what data is there. and then one can have a good discussion on how one can fill those data gaps. But data is absolutely crucial to drive information, decision-making, and impact and results in the end. Unless we know where the needs are, where are things improving, where are things not improving, it's very difficult to know where resources should be targeted to address those needs. So data is really needed.
And that is the end of national news. International news follows next after the break. Welcome back, and in international news, the Independent National Electoral Commission, CENI, in the Democratic Republic of Congo has announced Felix Tshisekedi as the new president of Congo for the opposition. However, followers of Martin Fayulu have expressed dissatisfaction with the results and protested in Goma.
I'm not happy at all because my heart is broken. We chose someone our hearts desired, but we've not succeeded. The people will make sure that peace prevails in our country. I'm so happy that my candidate won the election. I think he will serve as well. Even if they stole from us, it is still a victory for the opposition. Our objective was to see Kabila out. We thank God today because he is.
Now in Kenya, as President Uhuru Kenyatta continues with the fight against corruption in Kenya during her last term in office, prime organizations in Kenya have now said that corruption has been contributing to a loss of 1 trillion Kenyan shillings in the country each year.
Corruption destroys moral values and principles.
Corruption destroys moral values and principles. Statistics show that Kenya loses 1 trillion Kenyan shillings through corruption, equivalent to 30% of the total budget. It is imperative for Kenyans to fight this. We shall introduce, by God's grace, anti-corruption studies into the curriculum from kindergarten to university.
President Yoweri Museveni has officially launched a new solar power production center with the capacity of producing 20 megawatts. The center is the largest in East Africa and is expected to produce the use of oil, improve economic development in the country.
Peace and development is a big factor in fostering development. If we have peace, many other good things will be accomplished.
Now, in many African countries, owls are feared as they are considered bad omen. But in Kikambala Street, north of Mombasa, the bird is being stored in traditional caves by the community in the area, where the birds are used as a draw for local and international tourists.
Most African beliefs associate an owl with bad luck. Some believe that if there is an owl nearby, bad things are bound to happen. But there is an expression in English, as well as an owl, so we decided to take care of them. Owls from this place have been provided a habitat. We use droppings as manure. There are many blessings. Visitors come to this place too.
And that is the end of international news. Business news follows shortly after the break. We'll be right back.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
To be rich, I have to be a business person.
It's not an easy road at all.
People need to understand.
You must quickly think, how cost effective are you going to be?
Business acts
as a way in which it can bridge that gap.
Business Edition will keep you informed on latest developments in the financial sector, extractive industry, tourism, agriculture, energy, construction, and so much more. Meet entrepreneurs who create employment opportunities. Watch Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
And in business news tonight, the Federation of Miners Association of Tanzania, FIMATA, has expressed its support of the decision by President John Pombe Magufuli to direct the Bank of Tanzania BOT to purchase gold produced in the country, and say that the move is a good one, as there are countries in Africa that are doing so and have benefited from the minerals.
Kwanza tunampongeza sana Mheshimiwa Rais kwa uamuzi wake wa
We commend the President for deciding to allow BOT to start buying minerals in Tanzania. This is not new. There are certain countries like Zimbabwe who have been doing this, so we must show cooperation so that centers that will be starting up as purchase centers become operational.
Madini na sehemu zingine zote ili kuhakikisha hizo centers zinazofunguliwa kwa ajili ya kununua madini tunaunda kuuza hapo.
And a Small Industries Development Organization, SIDO, has said that Tanzanians have been very responsive in going out for training to start small-scale industries, as well as government procedures that are supposed to be considered when starting industries in the country.
It is to implement the policy on industrialization, which Honorable President initiated. SIDO has been dealing in small industries for a very long time. So in this regard, he has propelled us forward and given us the morale to offer more training. Previously, I had memorized cosmetic brands from outside the country. Then I discovered that there are some producers in the country who may not be highly educated, but they've succeeded so much and have employed others. So I knew I could do the same. But to do it better, I had to go to SIDO. Starting up a factory is very expensive, but the training here is affordable and the lessons are very useful. There are so many products that we could make.
And that is the end of business news. Sports news follows shortly.
Hi, my name is Kotaro Tokuda.
What's up? My name is Sean Garnier.
I'm John Barnes from Liverpool Football Club. The hip hop, a hip it, the hip it, hip hip hop. You don't stop the rockin' to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear?
I'm watching Sports Gazette.
I'm watching Sport Gazette.
And you're watching Sports Gazette
with Sebastian.
With Sebastian. Peace out.
Yes! And you can also watch Sports Gazette for highlights and interviews regarding sports. Do not miss Sports Gazette every Wednesday at 7 p.m. only on Capital Television.
And in sports news tonight, the East Africa Tennis Championship first round has ended today, with Tanzanians being eliminated in the semi-finals.
Kenya must perform better than everybody else because our East Africa Center is there. so they play almost all the times, while our youth play on Saturday and Sunday and a few weekdays. But now we are expecting to start our center this year, and I believe we will also be in the same position and compete well against Kenya.
The National Baseball and Softball Association has directed its strength in preparing the new men under-23 national team, which will participate in the Olympic scales qualifiers that will take place in Kenya.
We are well prepared and the players are in good spirits. This is not the first time for us to participate. In 2014, we took part in the African Championship where we were third after South Africa and Uganda, that being the first time. Our fellows like Kenya started baseball a long time ago, more than 20 years, but we were able to perform better than them.
Pep Guardiola said his Manchester City team would take a Carabao Cup semi-final second leg seriously after his side bet Burton 9-0. Here's the report.
Gabriel Jesus scored 4 times with further goals from Kevin De Bruyne, Alexander Zinchenko, Phil Foden, Kyle Walker and Riyad Mahrez. The second leg, merely a formality, takes place on Wednesday, 23rd of January. The result was good and of course we are already in the final, but we have to play the second leg, said Guardiola. The win at Etihad Stadium was the largest winning margin in the semi-final of the competition and the widest victory in the tournament in more than 32 years since Liverpool bet Fulham 10-0 in the second round first leg tie in September 1986.
McLaren have appointed German Andrei Seidl as the new boss of their struggling Formula One team. Here more details.
The new role of managing director is the latest in a series of management changes aimed at making McLaren competitive again. The 46-year-old ex-boss of Porsche's World Endurance Championship team will join during 2019, reporting to Chief Executive Officer Zach Brown. Brown said Seidl was a high capable leader with a track record of success. He added it is another important step in their F1 performance recovery plan and long-term commitment to Formula One.
And Bournemouth striker Callum Wilson will definitely worth £50 million and would make Chelsea a better side, says BBC Sports pundit Dion Dublin. Here's more on the story.
26-year-old Wilson has scored 9 goals this season and has been linked with a move to Stamford Bridge. Asked if Wilson is good enough to play for Chelsea, Dublin told BBC Radio 5 Live, yes, he is. Meanwhile, Blues striker Alvaro Morata wants to leave the club and has said yes to Sevilla, says Guillem Balaki. 26-year-old striker Morata has struggled under new boss Maurizio Sarri this season, scoring just 5 times in the Premier League and has been linked with a move to Sevilla and Atletico Madrid.
And that's what item ends our news bulletin. My name is Khadija Zimbwe. Thank you for watching and good night.
za vitabu yafuatayo: Dar es Salaam, A Novel Idea, Slipway Msasani, Yacht Club Road, Msasani Peninsula, The Book Cave, Mbezi Rainbow, Social Club, Ara Museum Offices, Ikunda Bookshop, Kariakoo mtaa wa Mhunda, House of Wisdom, Mezzanine nambari 22, NHC House, Samora Avenue, Dar es Salaam, MacBooks and Brains, Mlimani City Mall, duka nambari 44.